Welcome to Intuition, a weekly podcast from Don Elzer at the Wildcraft Forest. Join us every week as we discuss rewilding the human experience and the state of nature. I knew in my soul that we were losing the earth piece by piece. I wasn't motivated by scientific evidence. I was motivated by my own observations, feelings, and intuition. It started with the fear of the bomb, that we would be incinerated by nuclear war started by a few men. None of us had any say in the matter. We had to trust these men with our lives, even if they chose to destroy the planet. Then there was the destruction of the forests where I played as a child, a destruction that left only houses and roads and traffic and people. I had no say in it, and I saw that it was unjust, but it seemed like nobody else did. The destruction just happened. Then it was the farmland, replacing it with more and more houses and roads, and again, I had no say. Someone else decided, but I believed in my soul that they had made the wrong decision. But everyone else thought that they had made the right decision, so I was alone. Then there was the water, and some people wanted to build a dam and flood a valley which held old-growth forests. It was wrong, but they ignored us. But this time there were others, and we stood in the way and we stopped them. This changed my life. I came to understand that a few people could stop many, and that the earth could be protected. Then there was a war that could not be understood, a senseless war. More men decided that many young men needed to go fight in their war. Many died, but many others stood in the way and didn't go and fight. Some people chose peace. They stopped the war, but still those men keep making war regardless of whether we want peace or not. Then there was pollution. The men and their scientists said that all of the cars, the power plants, pipelines, and factories had great positive results for humanity. But we discovered that our air became polluted, plastic and garbage consumed our world, and we were running out of oil and other resources. Only until we forced them to change did they do so. But they changed things only incrementally. We can't change these men or their scientists because there's not enough of us. So for the few of us who remain, who understand this, we continue the struggle. Then there were oceans, fish, seals, and nuclear testing. It represented the destruction of nature. I discovered that there were more people like myself who were questioning the men in power and the science that they were always trying to sell us. I discovered that my cause would be a lifelong one, and there would be no easy road for saving the planet because there was simply not enough of us. Then there was the spraying and all the chemicals everywhere. The scientists said it would make life better, but I knew in my soul that it would not, because there was simply too much death. Others agreed, but there were not enough of us. They still spray, but not as much, because they know that we are watching. Then there was the water again. A few people with their scientists said that fluoride could be put in our drinking water and it would make us healthier. But I knew in my soul it wasn't right because water needed to be pure. A few others agreed, and we tried to stop them, but there were not enough of us. So they still put chemicals in the drinking water, but fewer chemicals because they know that we are watching them. And then again, there were the forests. A few people always wanted all of the trees. Now they wanted more. They started to take the last trees and clear-cut the forest as far as the eye could see. Their scientists said that all of it could be replenished over and over again. My heart would stop each time I saw this destruction, and again I knew it was wrong in my soul. A few others felt the same way, and sometimes we stopped the destruction, but other times we couldn't, because there just simply wasn't enough of us. Then there was the food, all processed and industrialized. A few men with their scientists said that this was the way they could feed the world. Yet everyone seemed to be getting sick. More farmers were losing their land, and people in faraway places were starving so that they couldn't eat, so that we could eat more bananas. Again, in my soul, this seemed wrong, and others felt the same way. We began to grow our own food. We started small farms. We opened farmers markets and small grocery stores and farm gates. Slowly, more and more people began wanting local, whole food. But the system made it as hard as possible to sell local food because there was still not enough of us. Then there was Monsanto, DuPont, and Big Pharma, and their men and scientists who were making things that they said would make us healthier. But in fact, many people were getting sick. I knew in my soul that they were lying, and sure enough they were. Others saw it too, and we all fought back hard against the lies. Sometimes we stopped harmful substances from being sold, other times we lost the fight. We still can't stop them because there are still not enough of us. Then there was the extinction of species. We would warn the government, university, and corporate scientists that species were disappearing in places because of industrial activity and because of the microclimate was changing. They ignored us and they said that their evidence told them that everything was fine. But in my soul, I knew that we were right. We saw the changes firsthand, so we kept up the pressure on the system. But we were ridiculed as being fanatics. But yet, 2 to 5 years later, one by one, species became extinct, and it was only then that those scientists changed their view, when it was too late. The system has not changed. Why? Because there's not enough of us. Then the men with their scientists began to genetically alter everything, our food, medicines, and forests, even humans. In my soul, I knew that this was wrong and very dangerous. A few others agreed, but not many. The men said that we should trust them, but we don't. But sadly, there are not enough of us. Then there is the planetary climate changing because of all of the actions that have contributed to killing our home. The men in power argue over words and profits and power so that they don't have to make a decision that will help to solve all of the problems that they helped create, because they don't really want to solve the problems. They create diversions so that people will look away. I know in my soul that they have no intention of helping us, so we have to solve these problems ourselves. But still, there's not enough of us. And then there is 5G and the unencumbered altering of natural frequencies. A few men and their scientists told us that there were no risks, but they really didn't test for any risks. They just went out and did it because they said we all wanted it. In my soul, I could feel that it was wrong. But what about the insects and the birds? What about us? A few people agreed, but not many. Then there was a vaccine, and the men and their scientists used a pandemic as a reason to inject every human being with a foreign substance, regardless of whether they wanted it or not. They said it would save humanity, yet much of what they were already doing was destroying humanity and the planet. The men and their scientists had already captured control over the land, and they abused it, and now they want full control over our bodies. I knew in my soul that this was wrong. A few people agreed, but there are not enough of us. You might not like the fact that I don't like mandatory vaccination. You might call me an anti-vaxxer who follows pseudoscience or some kind of a Trump supporter or some religious zealot. But I will respond to you with a no. I have experienced things. I have experience with my soul. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Intuition. Learn what we do at the Wildcraft Forest. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and by visiting our website at wildcraftforest.com. If you have enjoyed this podcast on YouTube, please subscribe. Thanks again.